So without further ado, I'll allow the meeting to go ahead and Patrick to open up for Honourable, so that we should give us a bit of her reflections, but also in terms of listening, hearing a bit from you. She doesn't have much time, which is normal, so let's just try and keep this short, crisp, and straight to the point, and let today's meeting be in terms of ensuring that we do have support within the state to move forward, and with the lawmakers and the policymakers.
Thank you very much, Said. Honorable Saris, Patrick, representing the board. The rest of the team members have been here since yesterday. Thank you for the good work that you're doing. Now, I don't be saying much, but the main reason we've been here is this work that we've done for quite some time, I think over 2 years now, and we discovered that there was a problem as far as water is concerned, and that women are being violated, women and girls, and they're going out to fetch water because of the issue that we found, crowding, lack of the service, and many other things, especially in the informal settlements. Now, the work that you've been doing is based on the evidence that we have collected. We collected a lot of evidence from the informal settlements. We have stories which we shared with you quickly. Just listing women coming out and saying what has happened to them in their quest for water and sanitation services. We have video documentaries. We have a baseline survey that we did. We have a lot of evidence that we've collected as far as this is concerned. And we've been to the media also. Some media gave us some space to talk about this issue. And we've met some other people that are here today, the CSU, the DSC, and many of the colleagues that we want. And therefore, we want this issue to get the attention that it deserves. And we think that Honorable is the right person to help us now move it to the next level, because as CSOs, at some point, maybe we may not be able to get to those higher levels, the offices where you sit. And it's good that you are here. So I've not talked much. I think the team will also maybe have something to share. But for now, I'll invite one of our board members who will say something. And then we'll invite Thank you so much.
Yeah, Honorable Pasharis, the women representative, Nairobi County. I'm sure that position still stands until the 9th you come in again. Yeah, that is our prayer and everything. And all the members of the WASNET and the NGOs that are represented in this place. We also have NMS, which is also represented here. We have the chair of the Women in Water here. So it's a whole group who are here right now. Also from the academia, we have Pastor who are here from the academia. Yeah, and it's a whole group that is discussing about this. And I'm sure it could be new in water. It could be something that people will argue about, that this is not in water. But in other sectors, sextortion is there. If you go to the fish industry, this is so serious within Kisumu. And it's now that we are discovering that in water it is so serious. And in water, there are people who have to go through this for them to be able to get water. And even our sanitation facilities within our informal settlement, we realize that that accessibility is just a problem. And this has caused some of our ladies, they have to go out at night. And when they go out at night again, you know what happens, people follow them. And at the end of the day, some of them are raped, some of them are even molested as they are going out into this. And so it's a real problem, and it is happening. In fact, I was in this group, and as we were just discussing, sorry to take you to the memory line, we talked about lighting Why can't we have lighting in all these places as one of the areas that we're going to increase security in the area? Then we remember adopt a light. All of us say adopt a light. That is something we remembered as we were seated there. And so these are some of the things that are eating us. These are some of the things that we're looking at, and we're wondering, how do we come up with a solution? And without political will, it becomes hard for us even to push some of these things. And that is why when we get allies like you, we get people like you to work with us, to come near where we are, then it is a stepping stone to be able to reach your colleagues, to be able to reach those other areas that we cannot reach. And so we really feel privileged, we really feel quite happy today that you are able to get time and even to be with us. And because you don't have much time, I hear you still have to go somewhere else, then I'll invite you. Otherwise, I'm the vice chair of KEWASNET, and that is the position I'm standing in right now. Otherwise, you're most welcome. Good addresses, and then after that, maybe if they have one or two things which they have as questions, then they can be able to post or any information they would like to pass. Otherwise, thank you so much, and most welcome.
Okay, so the Executive Director, KEWASNET, Mr. Patrick Alube, the Executive Secretary, Ms. Serene Malik, Mr. Vincent Auma, Head of Programs, KEWASNET, NMS Health Director, Margaret Suguti, Organization Heads present, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Okay, this is such an important issue, right? First of all, I hope you enjoyed your lunch yesterday. By the time I got here, I was told you've all gone for lunch. But I was so happy you were continuing today with this conversation, right? And I'm sure that you've all had really fruitful deliberations. And, you know, sometimes you think that just because you've elected a leader, the leader knows everything. There is a saying, only the wearer of the shoe knows where it pinches, right? We've heard about sex for pens, right? But when I heard about sex for water, I've only ever heard about water cartels. But you know, as I started having a conversation, I realized, wow, we do have a crisis. So first of all, I want to thank each and every one of you, all right? For 2 years, you've been collecting evidence, right? To show us that our women out there, right, are actually being abused, all right? And they're being abused in a manner that is robbing them of their dignity, probably exposing them to sexual transmitted diseases, and basically ruining one's life, okay? So as I stand here, I want to tell those who are engaged in that practice of sex for water that your days are numbered, all right? I want to tell the women, and probably even the men, who've found themselves in this situation, because today, sexual abuse is not just about women. We've also got men being sodomized, right? So, and probably even minors. So, it doesn't have to get that low, all right? The government has failed, probably in recognizing that there is this issue, all right? We only just think about cartels, how are we going to break the cartels? And I hope that the next county government, especially for my county, Nairobi, the next county governor will actually address the issue of cartels so that water can be in everyone's home, right? So, as I said, it's a privilege to be here to talk to you, all right? I want to talk about the Azimio Manifesto. Article 43 of our Constitution gives provision and guarantees the right and access to clean and safe water. In the Azimio Manifesto, our presidential candidate's 10-point agenda, we have Maji Kwa Kila Boma. So, Raila Odinga, I mean, God honestly bless his soul, because he seems to be somehow connected with the issues. We had the electricity going to every house, right? The last mile. He has actually recognized that we have a problem with water. And water is life, right? And this Maji Kwa Kila Boma, right? It's to ensure that you have clean, safe, affordable water. I go into some restaurants and I find that Coca-Cola is cheaper than water. And you know, you can't survive with just Coke. You need water, right? You need water to clean. You need water to stay alive. We saw that with the pandemic. You need water to have dignity as a girl if you have your menstruals, right? You also need water to cook, right? You can't make ugali without water. You can't make your rice or your githeri without water. So it's an essential ingredient to end a lot of problems that we have, from hunger, right, to hygiene, to basically health and sustainability of the human race. We require water, right? So Maji Kwa Kila Boma initiative. This initiative seeks to ensure that all households have access to clean, reliable water supply and sanitation. How do we intend to achieve this? Political goodwill. We must get the right leadership who have the right character and political goodwill to solve the issue of water, not just in Nairobi, but the entire country. We know what our competitors did with the dam money, all right? They went ahead to say it was just 7 billion shillings lost. Those are the people that we can't entrust to solve this issue of water, okay? It's a political season, so let me get political. Because your solutions are going to be political. You will need legislation, you will need policies, you will need regulations, you will also need budgets, isn't it? Right? So it is a political issue, and we're in that political season. All of you here are voters, and you have people that you know that will vote. All right? I'm seeking a second term or 10 at the college, so I'm also asking for your vote. Yeah? Good governance. Nairobi has an artificial water shortage due to cartels. We have piped water, sunk boreholes, put reservoirs, but Nairobi still lacks water because of cartels. We must elect people who will get into office and put tight mechanism to dismantle cartels and ensure water is available for all. Our team stands on the platform of reforms and corruption-free society. We must dismantle cartels. Last, we must harvest and store rainwater, build dams, and to harvest food, to harvest flood water, and to sink more boreholes. Do you know, we have so many waterborne diseases in this country, and in this county as well. Cholera, typhoid. But after the pandemic, there was a good side to the pandemic. Because we made water available to everyone, right? We saw a nosedive into waterborne diseases, right? And then there's also worms, right? So what we have to do is make sure, right, that we have water available to everyone. Because that in itself led to what we put it for COVID, but look at the other side. All the waterborne diseases, there was a nosedive, right? So that's important. Now, sanitation. Nairobi County is saddled and choking in garbage and poor sanitation, characterized by flying toilets in certain areas. We've built quite a number of toilets. We've also got the eco-toilets all over the place, but we have a problem with land. Us as GAF put a project to do eco-toilets all over Nairobi, but the biggest challenge we have, when we put about 10 of them out, is the county government and NMS came up and destroyed them and said they can't be on the roads. So we lack spaces to put them, right? So we need public spaces and public utilities to be reclaimed back, all right? Because a lot of them have been grabbed, so we lack the places to put these facilities that we want to put. A few utility spaces, we have not been able to sustain the huge population. We have making the facilities stretched and an ISO. This must be fixed. Every time I campaign, and I campaigned in 2017 and I'm campaigning again now in 2022, I am in the National Assembly. The county government is tasked with making sure our garbage is collected, our garbage is recycled. A lot of countries in the world have not been prepared for the kind of garbage we have. I'm telling you, even when I buy my daughters a toy, right? By the time I bought, the toy was this small, but the box, the styrofoam, the packaging, you know, I was like, my goodness, look at the kind of garbage. You go for a takeaway, the food goes in you, but look at all the things that you have to throw with the takeaway. I think our country tried in terms of plastics, you know, but we still got a long way to go. I always say, no matter how bad your child, no matter how bad your government, it's still yours, right? So we have to own the problems, because the problems, the solutions come from both of us. Even the discipline of throwing the garbage in a bin. We have to put the bins, then we have to train you to put them in the bins. Then we have to train you to put them in the right bin. Then we have to train to get the recycling done. So, you know, sanitation is everyone's responsibility, right? Even water. By the time the government makes sure that you all have tap water in your houses, right? We have to make sure we don't waste it, right? Because it's a scarce commodity. I put a reservoir in my house to collect rainwater because I wanted to use it for my gardens so that I don't waste water. But unfortunately, the reservoir, whoever constructed it, when it rained, I went and I looked, hakuna maji, so there was something that was leaking. So it is still something that I want to do. Find out where is this leak and fix it, right? We have started an initiative to collect plastic bottles under GAF. And what I decided, these plastic bottles, because they also harm our environment and they're not biodegradable, we decided if we can take the plastic bottles, take all the cellophane bags that we have around Nairobi, stuff them into the plastic bottles, we can actually put security perimeter walls around all the schools. And we've got our first project, the school is Uhuru Boys Secondary, where we're doing that. And then we can clean the environment and create safe walls. So we have to come up with innovative ideas. We don't have to think about everything, all right? YouTube gives you the opportunity to see what the whole world is doing, right? So let's use our internet bundles properly. Let's not sambaza the hate speeches that we have and the TikToks that are ridiculing our leaders and insulting our leaders. Let us sambaza solutions to our problems, right? Because really, you have a choice, okay? And as we get to the elections, the more we sambaza the things that are making one come down or bring down some personality or a person, the more we create tension and hatred. I've just come from a UNICEF and KTN sponsored conversation debate where the children did some essays on the issues, and they also we chose the winners, okay, on various categories. And it was for me, it was nice to see that they connected with our issues. And I said to them, I said, go home and tell your parents that on the 9th of August, mommy and daddy, go and vote. But don't create violence, because we want to see you back home and we want to go to school after the elections. You know, that is a powerful message. You can all use your smartphones and record that message, because you know what? It's going to be him rising against him in the neighborhood, you rising against her in the neighborhood, and for what? All right? Let's elect our leaders and let's get on with our life. And if you want the country liberated economically, right, the person to elect is none other than Raila Amolo Odinga and Martha Karua. Why? Because Raila is tried and tested. I look at the good things in this country. You know, I remember people saying when they were coming from Marsabit, they used to say, we're going to Kenya, because they were so undeveloped in those areas, Isiolo, they were so undeveloped. And he was the father of devolution. And I remember the first time we brought that conversation to the fore, people were like, oh, Maji Kwa Kila Boma, he wants to separate Kenya, he wants to divide Kenya, he wants Mombasa to go on its own, he wants Nyanza to go on its own. They didn't realize what he wanted was resources to get to every part of Kenya. Nairobi suffers because we are perceived to be a city and rich, but we don't get enough resources, and yet our people are living in abject poverty. In fact, I was fighting for food recently, and I was telling the PS, Marwa, I need food for Nairobi. You can't be telling me you're taking food to other arid areas in Nairobi. People are starving in my county. So I've been promised some food to be able to feed our people. So let me get back to this, because I had some really important points. It's imperative to note that in the scarcity of water and poor sanitation, women and children are endangered and abused, which is your evidence, isn't it? In settlements where women and children have to use water outside their houses, fetch water miles from home, and lack proper laboratories, they are exposed to sexual abuse and harassment. These factors directly contribute to GBV cases, sexual harassment. My office has built and is building more safe houses where victims who undergo abuses can have safe havens as perpetrators are brought to book. My plea is that as we go through this election, let's fix our politics and governance at the ballot. Get out and vote, show up, let your vote speak, and enable us to address the challenges. Good leadership from ward level to presidency will hear, see, and address the plight of Nairobians. You know, when we're asking you to vote, a lot of people were saying, oh, I don't want to vote. I don't want to vote because what's the point? The point is, if you don't vote, there is no point, right? If you don't vote because you feel the government hasn't served you, it might not have served you. You know, I said to the people that I have money for bursary. I can only give 20 people bursaries in a constituency. Those 20 people, so long as they received it, all right, and I didn't siphon that money out, vote for me. You might not have received it, but you know I used your money well, all right? So the government has not probably met your personal and individual needs. And you're thinking, okay, why should I vote? You have to vote, because how can you complain about the government over the next 5 years if you never helped put it? Know who your MCA is going to be, all right? Now, as Azimio, we have a governor candidate, all right? Igade and Professor Kaloki. Now, when I say vote 6-piece, right? It's because I understand and I think you all saw the circus in Parliament. We would stay till 2 in the morning because we want to pass a legislation and the others are just having fun not to pass it. Just to do it, not to pass it. It's not that they had a point, they just didn't want to pass it, they wanted to frustrate government. And it was sad because the deputy president was part and parcel of the strategy to frustrate government, all right? So for me, if Raila Amolo Odinga is supposed to deliver on whatever it is that you think he can deliver for the country, the third liberation, right? Where we're economically empowered, where we address corruption, where we get into national building, we create opportunity, we have medical, we have education, we have food security, we have jobs for our people. If he's supposed to do all that, he needs to have control of National Assembly, he needs to have control of Parliament, and if you're going to choose a governor, you have to make sure you give him the MCAs to be able to deliver on what he wants to deliver. Otherwise, you'll just have chaos. So when you're thinking about who to vote, think about the bigger picture. You know, they say you can't like the cow and hate the tail. You have to like the whole cow, isn't it? So for me, when you're looking at the next election, look at putting people together who can be whipped to deliver what you want. So my ask from all of you is, please, let's not gamble with our country. I personally know that the only person who can really help us out right now, and is God sent for us, to give us a Mandela moment, is Raila Amolo Odinga. He has tried 5 times. Why? You think he wants to go and sleep in that house in State House? You know, government properties are not very nicely furnished, and you know, the ambience is not like a home Mwanamke maintains. It's a government place. He has a beautiful home Amaida has given him in Kerala. But he wants to go to that State House to serve all of us. At his age, to go around the country, to campaign. The BBI, you know, people don't understand the BBI. Everybody was saying, oh no, why, what? But let me tell you, even Ruto right now, he wishes that he had passed the BBI, because what is he going to give? What is he going to give the people that he has in his coalition? He needs positions for Musalia, for Weta. All right? So I want you to understand, when Baba was looking at that, he was looking at harmony. We're always fighting because Musumkati doesn't work. So why not have a cake so we can have more communities in the leadership of this country? Second thing, devolution has worked, all right? But we have a problem. Let me tell you about Kasarani. Kasarani constituency has over 300,000 voters, okay? Lamu, there's a constituency, has 11,000 voters. Is it fair that Kasarani receives CDF of 140 million and Lamu receives the same CDF of 140 million? So Baba was saying, Kasarani needs more schools, more police stations. So we've got to divide those large constituencies and create more constituencies. He also saw that women are not getting elected. The men don't want to give us the quota of not more than 1/3. We fought for it as women. We wanted to have representation, all right? So he said, those new constituencies that we will create seats to make sure that women are elected, all right? And let me tell you, they'll have an apology. The same way we went for the girl child, the same way we have to go for women leadership, all right? Because it's not easy. The men are already sitting in office. The men have already got a budget to run for elections. The women cannot come from outside and fight with the men. Nairobi had only one woman, Maji Kwa Kila in Kasarani. Only one. If there was no woman representative seat, Nairobi, the entire Nairobi capital would have had only one woman, okay, in the legislative assembly to fight for your needs, all right, and to support you. Because if you're nominated, you don't get a budget. Nairobi County Assembly, even right now, we've not got enough women nominated to run. We had 85 seats, only 5 women. Governors countrywide, all right? We had 47 governors, only 3 made it as women. 1 we lost, and now we have only 2. So we have to try as women. Now that Baba's given us a deputy president for women, as a woman, Martha Karua, we have to try as women to stand up and be counted. And you know the sad part about Kenya right now? When in America, when Barack wanted, as a black man, to become the leader of the great country, America, he didn't have to look for money. He didn't have to come from a rich family. He didn't have to have been in a public institution, looted it to the point where he can now run for president. Unfortunately, if we want to end corruption in this country, we have to look for leaders as leaders. I cannot hold all the town hall meetings that my opponent is holding. I don't know where she's getting all that money, all right? Because when you have a town hall, everybody expects to be paid between 500 and 1,000 shillings. You hold one town hall, you're giving 1 million shillings. Sometimes I ask, where is all this money coming from? Of course, I mean, she's under the party of UDA, where they seems to have unlimited resources, and we know why. I want you know, all of you, right? We're trying to get 1 million women behind Martha, and there's a short code for you to join, and I'll post it on my wall. Why do we want to raise money for Martha, right? As women, let me tell you, to go around this country campaigning, if you're expecting that the political party should have the money to do it, let me tell you, then don't ask for corruption to go away. So if Barack Obama was receiving $1, $10, $5, $100 from the Americans who wanted to see a black president, the Americans who believed that that young man who spoke so well at the convention, at the Democratic Convention, could actually become the president of the USA. Are we together? But here in Kenya, you expect your political leader to give you money, not you to invest in your political leader. So let us change and shift that. Even if you can sign up and send 100 shillings, 50 shillings to the leader that you believe in, what you're doing is you're giving that leader the opportunity to counter the corrupt leaders who've got a lot of money, and Kenyans seem to think that that is how you elect your leader, because umepewa kitu kidogo. The way to change this country is find the good leader and support. You can support by just walking door to door in your neighborhood, talking in the bus, talking in the matatu, talking in the supermarket, talking in the school compound, and saying, mimi napigia Raila Amolo Odinga kura kwa sababu alituletea media freedom, alituletea devolution, alituletea infrastructure. Pamoja na Kibaki walileta free primary education. The housing. Baba is the only constituency. You know, people say, what did Baba do in Kibra? Kibra is the only constituency that ended up with slum upgrading. Baba saw people cannot live like this anymore. But he's not been in charge. So he's been there, kama conductor anamwambia driver, nenda hivi, nenda hivi, nenda hivi. But now, when you put him on the driver's seat, he will decide the direction that bus is going. But so far, he's been sitting, and you know, let me tell you, when the elections were taken from Baba, and he came for Nusu Mkate, right? It was not because he wanted to be power hungry, he wanted this country to go safe. When he came up with the handshake, it was because he loves this country enough to say, no, let's do the right thing for Kenyans. As if you know what is about us looking at each other as Kenyans. You know me, when I look at all of you, I cannot tell, you know, if I look at her from her color, I can think maybe she's Taita. You understand? Because Taitas are light skinned like myself. But, let me tell you, I've seen a Jaluo looking man, right? And when he was my lecturer at USIU, when he introduced himself, he was Mr. Njoroge. But when I saw him, I thought he would be Mr. Onyama. Okay? So I want you to understand something. We have blended to such a point that you can be killed for being being perceived as the wrong tribe, but you're actually the same tribe. And why do we need to reach that point where we're killing each other? For what? Let me tell you, no politician is worth dying for. Okay? We want peaceful elections. In 2017, I was responsible in Nairobi for burying 97 people. Up to today, I find it very hard to cry because I saw so much pain and suffering. We don't want to bury anyone, okay? Baba has a plan. He has studied the Asian tigers. He has studied South Korea. He has studied Singapore. He has studied Malaysia. He has said those countries and Kenya were at par at independence. Where did we go wrong? This is your moment to have the leader that can give you the change that you want. Don't be confused. You know me, I say, con men have got very sweet tongues, but don't be conned. Don't be conned. Give Baba a chance. 5 years, and the changes you will see, I believe that you will, all these problems that you're discussing here, sex for water, he has it in his agenda. You've not met him. I want to take your booklet. Actually, I want 2 sets of your study for 2 reasons. I'm going to give Governor Igade, actually I want 3. I'm going to give Governor Igade 1 study. I'm going to see him right now. I'll give it to him. I want to give Senator Sifuna 1, because he's at the Senate, he's going to make those changes. And I promise you, I will deliver 1 to Martha Karua. I will deliver 1 to Raila Amolo Odinga. All right? I will deliver this and tell them, water for all. Tuanze, kwa sababu unaona kuna shida hapa. Okay? Kuna shida kubwa hapa. Sex for water. Huh? So I will deliver these. You give them to me, I will deliver, and I will make sure that you know that we deliver. Second, I deliver, I pick a picture. Now okay? And then, hopefully, God willing, because everything we have, we live by the grace of God. God willing, if I'm re-elected as your woman representative, I will pick these issues with you. I will walk with you, and we start tukiingia tu swearing in. Mukishaona tunaingia tunaanza kufanya hii kazi. We pass the legislation, we amend the sexual offences law, we go door to door, we fight for budgets. We are very good at fighting for budgets. When Kenyatta University Hospital, when I found it and I found that it had stalled for so many years and it was an 8 billion shilling project, I started making so much noise back. I got to Uhuru Kenyatta's attention. He sent some people to the health committee. Huyo mama anapiga kelele mingi sana, tuma mtu kwa asikie ni nini. And let me tell you, they found the 1.5 billion, they opened that hospital. Look at how it has saved us during this pandemic period. Then I found another hospital in Korogocho, which is now Margaret Kenyatta Hospital. That hospital was built, they started, it was a 300-bed hospital, they started it in former Manusi. Lakini it was amongst the stalled projects. Ministry of Health did not even know that there was a 300-bed hospital in Korogocho that had stalled. What did we need? About 500 million to complete it. I took PS Mochache there, she found the money, we completed it, we've opened it. 24 new hospitals have been opened. Baba has said we will make sure we deal with the corruption. Martha Karua will make sure we deal with the corruption. And once we do that, KEMSA will bring us affordable medicines. Baba has a plan. Let me tell you, if you have a dream for this country, the implementer of that dream is none other than Raila Amolo Odinga and Mama Martha Karua. Thank you for listening to me. I'm here to hear whatever it is that I've missed out that you want me to know. I want that baby of yours to be born and to know Raila Amolo Odinga. And it looks like, by the way, it looks like a boy. Hata hiyo jina, hiyo inakaa kama mvulana. Hiyo jina labda itakuwa Raila Junior. You know, he has such a plan. You know, even to say that I'm going to be the father of all single mothers, I'm going to look after all the widows. And the vijanas, you know, we have a problem with our boys. And with so much we need to do for our boys. They are in a hopeless and helpless state. But the solution is definitely Wiper or any Azimio affiliate party. Thank you so much and God bless you.
Thank you so